What's up, guys? This is Destination DePottey, episode 7. I am so fired up about the episode tonight. We have another trip into my world, which is what this show is all about, getting a chance to interact with some of the incredible people that I have in my life, the obnoxious theories I come up in my head, and perhaps the deep, ridiculous feelings I have in my heart. But all of that today is going by the wayside. I'm hoping I do the absolute minimal amount of talking here. Today we are here with a very close friend of mine. We got a doctor in the house, y'all. I absolutely fully intend, whether he knows it or not, on having him on the show on a regular basis. I think that everything he says people should be hearing. And if people are willing to listen, I'm sure you guys are going to love him too. Today on the show, we've got owner of Agape Chiropractic here in Orange Park, Florida. This is my brother, Dr. Robert Jr. Morris. We call him Dr. Jr. if you know him and love him. What's up, brother?
What's going on, bro?
Oh, man.
How you doing?
I'm so good. In fact, I am going to, just a second here, I'm going to steal the intro of the show before you start to do your thing, because I just told you off air that I want to reveal something to you.
Okay.
And I want your genuine reaction. So,
Okay.
So this is kind of a cool thing anyways, because I went and saw Dr. Junior today. So Wednesdays are my adjustment days. I go every other week at this point because I'm on just a wellness type schedule, which he's going to kind of talk about his philosophy and all that other stuff. But anyways, all that to say, I have been doing this 100-mile in April challenge, which he was like, man, you hadn't run in a while. You might want to take it easy, because he's obviously looking out for my joints and my ligaments and my muscles, sometimes way more than I even am. Fun fact about that. Also, Dr. Junior is the only medical doctor that is regularly in my life outside of my sister, who is also my physical therapist. But I see her far less than I see Doc. So anyways, I don't have a primary care physician. I don't carry medical insurance. I tend to take a more natural approach to most everything. So he has a huge value in my own world, and I probably don't pay him anywhere near what he deserves, but he still lets me come and hang out with him. But anyways, today he was checking out my hip because about 7-8 weeks ago, I was playing basketball in my small group, and I had a little hip zinger. I kind of was up for a rebound. A guy kind of slid underneath me, and I fell on the hardwood. And when I started running again, it wasn't all the time, but when I started going the longer miles, I noticed that there was this spur on the outside of my hip. It felt like I had basically that same feeling right when I got the hip injury from basketball, which saying the word injury to me is kind of dramatic because it doesn't really feel that bad. But anyways, Doc Jr., of course, is trying to take care of me, and he's like, you should be careful for this. Well, today he saw me and he diagnosed it. He's like, you're just a little tight. It's really just muscle tightness. Basically, your muscles are trying to protect you from where you had that slight trauma. So you just need to stretch your IT bands a little better, stretch your quads a little better, get all that up there real nice and stretched, and you'll probably won't feel the same. So I mentioned to him today I was going for a sub 7-minute mile. And I took his advice. I stretched probably about 15 minutes before I started. I normally don't do that. I normally do most of my stretching afterwards. I usually do that kind of dynamic moving warm-ups. But I specifically focused on my IT band, my calves, my quads, all of that, just to get it loosened, specifically on that right side, but both sides. And I smashed the 7-minute mile. I ran my first mile. Get this, bro. So I start out, and I'm thinking I'm just going to run a half a mile warm up, because I've noticed once I'm warm is usually my fastest. For example, my two personal records ago, and I say personal record, I don't know for sure it's the fastest I've ever done. When I was a kid and younger, I ran in cross country and stuff. I don't remember my times. I did okay towards the end there. I started getting fairly good at it. But I don't remember. I really don't. I was 12 or 13 years old. It was a long time ago, and we didn't have our phones back then. It was a different world. So I really don't remember. But since I've been an adult, around 2012, I used the Nike Running Club app. So my personal record fastest mile on that app was 7:17. And that happened a week and a half ago on my third mile, which blew me away on a Friday. It was 2 Fridays ago, because we were on a time crunch. My wife had to be somewhere. And dude, I stopped looking at my pace. I put it down. I turned the screen off on my phone and then I get back to the house and I'm like, 7:17, holy moly. My last mile was my fastest. And then when I tried to go as fast as I could to just do a 1 mile, I think it was the following Wednesday, which would have been last Wednesday, a week from today. It was much harder, I noticed. I just went right out of the gate, straight into trying to go my fastest. And I got 7:01. And I remember feeling like this was really hard. It didn't feel anything like that third mile the Friday before. So my thought was, I'm going to get warm. I'm going to run a half a mile. And then plus, if I go a half a mile out from my house, it's kind of like a straight shot. So I'm thinking, I'm going to do this thing, man. And then, bro, 2/10 of a mile in. So I'm not even halfway out of my driveway because my driveway is a half a mile long. And I look down at the pace and it says I'm at like 6:58. I'm like, 6:58 for warm-up pace? I was like, I'm not even trying yet. So I decide, I was like, you know what? Let's not waste this. Let's just go.
Just go.
So I
Just
push
go.
and push. And bro, when I heard that Nike chick chant out 6 minutes, 44 seconds, I was like, let's go. I was so hyped up. But then in my mind goes to, I was texting Coach Ray like, hey, one of the things in this challenge, I really want to get a sub 25-minute 5K. And my thought was, I'm going to burn out on the first mile. Today's not the day to try for the 5K pace. Well, bro, after 6:44, I'm like, wait a second. I can run 2 more miles in like almost 20 minutes and beat 25 minutes. So I'm like, I should just go. And bro, mile 2 hits and it's like 18 minutes. I'm like, oh my gosh. Oh my God. No. Sorry. It was 14 minutes. It was like 13:50. I'm like, you're telling me I got 11 minutes to run 1 mile? I was like, I'm beating my pace. 3 miles hits at 20 minutes, like almost exactly on the dot. So I need to do like 0.1 miles, in a minute, or I'm sorry, in 5 minutes. So I know I'm going to beat that. And then, brother, I ended up pushing, and I actually ran 5 miles under 7-minute pace. And that was a big time personal record. Never done that before. I feel great. I could go run more, but I knew we were filming. And I definitely felt the tightness because it was cold outside because of the rain came today. So I was definitely tightening up. But I credit it to the stretching. I also was very hydrated today. I had a couple extra carbs because I missed me some carbs. I haven't had carbs in a long time. And a great adjustment and some advice from Dr. Junior. So, brother, I wanted to include you on that. I really appreciate you helping me.
That's dope, man.
That was awesome. So anyways,
That's
guys,
all you, bro.
The big deal today is everything Dr. Junior says is wisdom. He loves the Lord. This guy has become one of my closest buds. He plays basketball with me. And we, if he didn't just have a baby, we would have done a whole lot more life together, but he literally just had baby number 2. So he's got a chaotic world. That's why he's still at the office right now, so we could actually knock this out. But, Doc, I just kind of wanted to give you a chance to maybe give a couple nuggets about, the importance of chiropractic and what kind of, maybe a little bit on your journey. I don't know. We'll see where it goes. But I just know every time I hear you talk and your passion, and we agree on so much, I wanted to have you on. So
yeah, I appreciate it, brother. I do. So just my passion for life is just to help people and be a conduit for people to meet who Christ is, man. Chiropractic came along out of nowhere, really. I played football at Coastal Carolina University. It's a Division I school, and I tore my ACL. And after you tear your ACL at a Division I school, like, you get all the best treatment. So I had chiropractic, I had physical therapy, I had my orthopedic, I had everything. So I'm rehabbing for this from this ACL surgery, and the chiropractor just absolutely blew my mind. First of all, the reason why I went to him to begin with was I was in class and I was sleeping because I was on meds, but I still had to go to class. And so I'm sleeping in class and literally drool coming out my mouth.
Oh, man.
I'm gone. And this chiropractor came to speak, and I was like, I definitely don't want to do that, because if anybody knows anything about Martin, you know Martin, right?
Oh,
and
Martin.
Gina's dad was a chiropractor, so that's really what I know about chiropractic. I'm like, I'm not trying to crack no backs, man. I'm good. but so anyway, I literally wake up with an audible voice telling me, like, this is what you're going to pursue. This is what you're going to do, like, out of nowhere. And I was like, what? That's crazy. So then as I began to basically investigate what chiropractic was about, the first chiropractor I come across is a chiropractor for the team. And he blew me away because a lot of the times you hear chiropractors are quacks. They don't really know anything. They're not real doctors, all of this stuff about us. But he was able to tell me so much about the body and connect everything from the foot all the way up to the head, from the head all the way down to the foot, from the fingers to the shoulders, like how everything is connected and how everything works together. It don't matter what you want to do or what's wrong with you, it is going to affect almost everything in the body. And I was like, man, that's pretty cool stuff. So I went ahead and I worked for him. He was like, you can be my rehab person, because I was exercise science major. And as I was there, man, it was It was amazing. People are getting better from so many different things, and it's like blowing my mind, right? And so
That's
where my
amazing.
path is blowing my mind. And he told me if I worked for him, I had to get adjusted. And so I was like, cool. Like I'm a football player. Like I'm in great health. I'm like, fine, I'll get adjusted. And gave me felt a little something, felt good. But what I didn't tell him was that I've been chronic asthmatic my whole life. Chronic. I've been hospitalized over 15 times in my life. I used to go through about 4 or 5 inhalers a year on average. It was crazy. And so after about a year and a half of being there, I realized that I did not use my inhaler for almost a year.
Wow.
And I asked him, I was like, so I see other people getting help with all these other things. I was like, can chiropractic do anything with asthma? He goes, well, technically I can't say, chiropractic kills asthma, because that's not something you can say. But he goes, I will say, well, can it impact asthma? Yeah, sure. And then he started to go through the list of how asthma can be impacted. So what is asthma? Asthma is basically the lungs reacting to something foreign coming from out of the air into your lungs, and your bronchioles constrict. I'm like, okay, cool. He goes, but what controls those bronchioles? It's like the muscles. What controls those muscles? The nerves. Where are those nerves coming from? From the spine, from the brain. So the brain is communicating with everything in the body, telling everything what to do, how to do it, when to do it. So if there's any type of interference between the brain and the lungs, or the brain and the rest of the body, then it's possible that the body won't work at its full potential. So he goes, as a chiropractor, what I'm doing is I'm removing that interference. I'm lining that spine up, and therefore your brain can have full communication between, full communication with your lungs. Maybe your bronchioles don't constrict like they should. You know what I mean? And so I was like, that's amazing. You know what I mean? And then from there on, I was like, you know what? I want to do that for other people. I want to be that person who it's their last ditch effort. And that's what we see here. Most people that come to us, unlike yourself, like you are a person who's fully aware of your health and you're fully aware of your body. So you come to us for wellness. But most people come here because they've been through 4 or 5 surgeries.
Mm-hmm.
They've been dealing with something for 15 to 20 years and no one can help them. And they heard a random story about a chiropractor helping, and then they come to us. And we're able to help most of the time. So it is an amazing thing, man. It's an amazing thing what we do. So, and I love it, man. I do.
Yeah, that story reminds me of when we first met. Do you remember when we first met?
Yes, at your office.
Yes. So Boss Man met Dr. Junior in a networking group. And that was when you had just opened, and you were, or a couple months into you opening, but you were like,
a couple months.
What I'm going to do is, naturally when you first open a business, you got to get the word out there. Like I'm here. I love people. I want to connect. And so basically James had just agreed to let you come and talk to us in a morning meeting one morning. That was it.
Some bagels and coffee.
Bagels and coffee, which I'm sure was your probably 4 or 5 times a week at that point in time. That was a regular part of your grind, brother. I can't tell you how much. It's a topic for another time about building a business for sure. That is not the point.
Yeah, for sure.
I remember that being my life. But when I met, man, I remember thinking, so first of all, I obviously loved your energy right away, and I was interacting with you, and we had a couple people working with us at the time. It was like Boss Man's wife, and then 2 other people and me. And you're doing your thing, you're talking, and then I remember, dude, I'm remembering this right now, and I'm like feeling like such a jabroni. One of my coworkers goes, "Hey, can I ask you a question? Does chiropractic help with such and such and such?" And I was like, "Oh, can I answer that?" And then you were like, "Please, please." I literally was like, "Yeah, man, can I answer that?" And then I for the most part, I had a pretty decent answer, and you're like, "Yeah, that's exactly right. That's exactly what I would say." But that's regardless, awesome. Later, I was like, "Why did I do that?" I was like, "He's literally here to talk about spines and stuff," and I was like, "That guy probably thinks I'm just like the biggest jerk." I don't know,
dude. It's cool, man. Because the best thing is that your answer measured up with what I would have said, and the best thing that I can do is educate people so that they can educate other people. Yeah. And that's also a part of building a business. Is that if people trust you but they don't know me, if you're able to give the same answer I will give them, they're like, "Oh, well, maybe he does know what he's talking about."
Yeah, yeah. And I remember specifically, I just said, chiropractors aren't in the business of saying, getting care from me will solve this and this and this. They are in the business of saying the truth. And the truth is that every single thing in the body is tied to the central nervous system. The central nervous system's headquarters is the spine, and they deal with the spine. So,
Yeah.
It stands logical reasoning that if the spine is working, which is where everything goes back to, then chances are you'll be in better health. So,
a high chance. Yep.
So, anyways, that kind of leads me to I got a lot of questions for you that
Of
I don't
course.
forever. But one of my questions was, so I initially sought you out because really I was just trying to. I had discovered a love for being adjusted in my early 20s when I was really, really, really deep involved in the fitness world in Tallahassee in college. And I literally went to go get a physical for a job. And the lady who did the work physical, the Department of Transportation certified physical, she just so happened to be a chiropractor. And she asked me what I thought about chiropractic care. I had no knowledge of any of it. And she said, well, let me adjust you. And that was the first time I'd ever gotten adjusted. And literally the next day lifting weights, I was lifting the same weight that I was used to lifting, but everything felt just, I don't know, it just felt more smooth and functional. And
that happened after your first adjustment with me too.
Yes. Yeah, because I hadn't been adjusted in a while. And when I came, I said, I just want to establish being a patient with someone. I don't want to go through the whole care plan thing. I just want to be a patient somewhere. So because her philosophy that she taught me she was old school, was like, especially with my athletes, I tell them, you'll just kind of know when you need it. Your body will tell on you.
Mm-hmm.
And so I saw her once or twice a month at the most. It would just be, I could tell when I started to feel weird, but of course, then I come to see you and we find out pretty quickly that, I had some, because I never had a formal workup, because I'd only worked with old school chiropractors, we'd found out that I actually had some pretty serious stuff going on that would actually kind of explain some of the things I've been dealing with for years and years. So kind of what I kind of want you to dive into is just kind of your philosophy, as a doctor, as a chiropractic doctor, like when you bring someone in, why do you want to do the workup? Why do you want to understand that stuff? And why do you often recommend, you can, if you want, come here, once a month, like what you were thinking, but you might feel a little bit better if you did this.
Yeah. So essentially, when you come in, the first thing I need to do is I need to get a full picture and understanding of what's happening with your body. Not only for me, honestly, for you as well, because the truth is most people do not understand, or they forget all the stuff that they've been through, or even all the stuff that they're dealing with, because we're an immediate gratification type of people, right? Yeah. So the pain I had yesterday, I don't remember because I don't have it today.
Sure.
You know what I mean? That pain
Absolutely.
that I get multiple times a week, if I don't have it that day, out of sight, out of mind. You know what I mean? Like I don't even know what that is. So I like to do a full workup in a history of what you've been through and what you've consistently have gone through, because that lets me understand, okay, what type of pattern is your body in? And that's important to understand because we all have pattern. Muscle has memory and it has a pattern. And so as I go through that, I come up with what I feel like is the best care possible for you. And so what does that mean? Some people are like, well, I just want to come in when I'm feeling off. And sure, an adjustment could make you feel better. But the thing is that I'm in the business of wellness, and I'm in the business of getting to the source and the source problem of what's going on with you. And the only way to do that is to stop and create a different pattern. Stop that pattern of, okay, I get adjusted, cool, I'm gonna go back and do everything I was doing. That same problem's gonna come next month. Then I'm gonna go back and do what I'm doing. I'm gonna get adjusted. Same patterns, the same things gonna come up. And so my goal is to help people change that, because my original major was exercise and sports science. I was a minor in biology, right? So my first job was specific. I was an explosive trainer. I was a sports trainer, right? And I understand that the pattern of the body, the brain-body connection. I understand that your muscle has memory. I understand that everything that we do has a memory, right? Even memory as far as like when you got hurt, there's memory in that, right? Yeah. And so your body's always on a constant pattern. And so if you come to me and you have a neck issue and I adjust you one time and it's gone, I didn't fix the problem. I just put a Band-Aid over it. I decrease your symptom, but the problem itself is still going to be there, right? Because you have muscle and ligaments connected to all your bones. So if the muscle's been tight or out for an extended period of time, most of the time it's months or even years, right? You're more than likely set in a pattern. So if I put that bone back into place, it's going to want to do what?
Go right back out, yeah.
Come right back out. It might not be tomorrow, it might not be next week, but it's going to, because that's the pattern that it's in.
Yeah.
So how do we change a pattern? The exercise science journals, you look it up, it takes on average 300 repetitions in order for the body to have memory, right? 300 repetitions. So that means you have to do something on a regular basis in order for that to be there. For a jump shot regularly, running regularly. You know, when somebody first starts to run, they can get shin splints, they can get hurt, their feet start to hurt, but over time, right, the body gets used to what's going on, and it basically acclimates itself to that condition. And so my job as a chiropractor or as a wellness chiropractor is to change the pattern of your body so that you're not stuck in that dis-ease pattern. You're not stuck in that pain pattern, and get you on a new pattern so that your body's better overall, not just for the next couple of weeks or the next year, but years from now.
Yeah.
And so that's my philosophy on it. A lot of, you know, everybody has different philosophies, and I get that, and it's okay. But for us here, I want to see you be better for years from now, and I don't want to see you get surgeries or anything like that. So I want to establish a better pattern so that your body's changed fully.
Yeah. And I love that, you know, I remember one of the things you said, and you weren't the only one who said it. This is a super common thing said among physical therapists and chiropractors, but like pain is the last thing that happens in the process of something, you know, like that is just the message that your brain is sending to you saying something's screwed up here. You know, you should probably address this. There's like 65 steps before the actual pain comes
so
in.
like when you look at the nervous system, you have three parts. You have a sensory, autonomic, and you have motor. All right. Sensory is the pain. The autonomic is like your blood vessels, organs, and then your motor is how that muscle or that movement is how that pattern is happening. And most of it is autonomic and motor. Only 10% of it is sensory. And so pain could be the very last thing. You can have something going on for years, and you have a lot of dysfunction there, but pain isn't there yet. And then that's when you get the random, all I did was bend over and pick up a pencil. All I did was turn this way, and then it just started hurting. And I'm like, well, your body doesn't work like that. It's very resilient. And so it takes quite some time for that to happen.
Yeah, absolutely. And so anyways, anybody who just noticed that quick skip there, we were not editing. This is always unedited conversation coming to you, nothing scripted, nothing planned. But you might have heard that buzzing and the phone ringing. And I wanted to make sure my man had an opportunity to respond to his wife and honor her. Because if you get 555 tapped, you know something she at least needs to know what's going on. So I wanted to make sure my man, because we both have incredible women of God in our lives. And so, you know, if that was my wife, I would do the same. So anyways, of course, we took a honor the wife moment. But back to it really quick. So I love that, man. And honestly, you know what I found is the vast majority, I would say, first of all, I have a really good friend I went to high school with who's a chiropractor over in Tallahassee, and he has a lot of the exact same philosophies as you do. In fact, when I was looking for a chiropractor, I would run things by him, you know, that, you know, you would say to me and stuff, because, you know, of course there's the business and, you know, of course, all that stuff part of it. Not that I thought you were dishonest at all. I never thought that at all, but, you know, I just ran it by him and he goes, that guy sounds completely locked in. He goes, I agree with all of it. And, you know, and my friend has nothing to gain other than just being honest with me. Now he's
exactly. Yeah. So, it's not like he lives 20 minutes away and he wants you to come see him.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. In fact, he's like, hey bro, if you're ever in Tally, you know, come by, I'll throw you on the table. Anyways, so one of my favorite things about you, one of the reasons why we've connected so much, Doc, is just our mutual, we both just have this enormous love for the Lord. And, you know, that reflects in everything you do, just like you said. And so talk to me a little about what, you know, agape, the name agape means. Why did you choose that? What does it mean to you? Why did you name your business that? And then also give me a little bit of a little explanation of that logo there. I love your logo.
All right, cool. So, I mean, I love theology. I love learning about the Lord. And as I was learning and I was going through my studies, I came across like the differences in the meaning in the words of love and how they were used in the Bible. And we all, you know, if you don't know it's always hard to say them. But anyway, the one was agape, and that was the one that was mostly associated when people talked about the love of the Father for us, right? And so I love the thought process of that. For me, it's like, you know, I want to be a conduit of love for others, right? And I want to be able to love the way he loves us to other people and try as hard as I can for that. And so that's why I was like, I've got to use agape, because that's going to hold me accountable in everything that I
That's so
do.
good.
Right. You know what I mean? And so, because as a business owner, you can easily get caught up in a lot of different things, especially money and different things like that. And I was like, I want everything I do to reflect the Lord. And so how can I do that? By also holding myself accountable in little ways. And so one big way is by naming my business to something that's going to remind me who I'm working for, who I'm living for, and what I'm trying to reflect. And so agape love, you know what I mean? So agape chiropractic. Not only that, I didn't want to name it like Morris Chiropractic or anything like that, because I want the brand to be something way bigger than chiropractic. So I can take agape out of chiropractic and put it into anything else that I want to further do outside of this. And so I was thinking on a grand scale as well. But so that's how I came up with the name. What was the other question that you asked? I'm sorry.
Well, I just love your logo. So
Yeah. Oh, sick.
how did the logo come about? Because it's so cool.
So the logo, right? So as I was thinking about branding us and branding, how can I? Because a lot of chiropractors put like spines in their thing, which is cool, is dope. But for me, I was like, well, this is just a conduit for how I'm going to be used by the Lord. He might choose to send me and have me do other things. So how can I put myself in the best position to be able to just step away from this if that is something I'm called to do? And so I didn't want to put a spine in there. And so I was like, so how can I don't want to just do a logo, like everything I do has meaning, and I want to be intentional about everything. That means my logo, our name, how we do our business, what we say, what we do, everything intentional to reflect the glory of our Lord and Savior. And so when I was talking with my friend who was helping me with the branding, we were just we didn't even talk about, we were exhausted about talking about what type of logo I wanted. So we honestly just started talking about, I've known her for so long, and we've known each other since Young Life Camp in high school. She was living in a different state. So we just stayed in contact, and how much we've grown in our marriages. And it was just a beautiful thing about how the Lord has brought us from where we were to where we were at that moment. And after I got off the phone with her, I just went in with my wife, and my wife is Janae, and we were in Texas at this time. And I was just like, I just sat down and I just started thinking. I was like, you know what, let's just let it flow. So I'm doodling, and I'm like, so agape, what does agape mean for me? It means everything, his love, his son, our gifts, everything comes from the Lord. And that's why it comes from the Lord to us. As you can see, the arrows going down, right? Mm-hmm. And so he gives us all things. And then I said, so what happens in return from that? In return, that arrow going up is us giving him all things back, with our love, our adoration, our gifts back to him. And so this arrow over here is his love for all people, right? For people who accept him here, for people who don't to accept him. He still loves them. And that's why his son came and died on the cross. And so the gifts that he's given us, and the gifts that he's given us, we also love and give other people. And there's no arrow going back to him or back this way, because that love is freely given, and it is up to them to accept it. And so for me, in our place, I wanted to love people without any strings attached, without anything barring them. I worked when I was a personal trainer. I worked at a place that he owned a place, and he would get upset when people would leave, not because he wanted them to be the best, but like they were making a transition from a smaller gym to a bigger gym, and there were some people who just fell on hard times, and they was like, I can't afford it right now. And I just kept hearing stories of them saying like he was upset at me, and I'm just like, wow, like you gotta love people no matter what, and right. Like, so why are you getting upset that they're in a certain position that they can't do anything? And so for me, like if somebody chooses to leave us, or they find somebody that they think is better, my goal is not to be upset with them. My goal is to love them no matter what. And whoever comes through those doors, we're gonna love them and not expect anything back. And so that's how I came up with the logo. And I literally sat down and I said, God gives us all things. In return, we love him back. And then we give everybody else all the love that we can, without respect, without expecting anything back. And that's how I came up with the logo. It didn't look like that. Now my friend with the branding, she
did the
juiced
finer
it up.
tour.
She juiced it up.
It was a much more humble version.
she juiced it up real good.
I love that, man. I love that so much, and that's such a just an incredible picture of your heart. I never knew that information before. Now I just thought it was really awesome.
And not only that, it's a double meaning. And so when I was doing that, I only thought about God. But like 20 minutes later, I was like, oh snap! There's this saying in chiropractic that everything comes from above, down, inside, and out.
Oh,
and it's
man.
like above, down, inside, and then out.
Double entendre on them. Give it to him, man. I love that. I love that. Okay, so anyways, before we go, let's have a quick little bit of fun. What regularly scheduled programming, I have a feeling I know what it is. I'm going to tell you my guess after you say.
Okay.
But when this chaotic time is over, what regularly scheduled programming are you looking forward to most returning? What aspect of normalcy are you looking to returning to most?
Oh, man. Ball on Sunday.
Oh, my gosh, bro. I want to play ball so bad.
So bad.
So bad.
Ball on Sunday.
Bro, that's going to be the most attended small group of all time.
Yeah.
There's going to be 400 people at the gym to play ball.
But it's a tie between sports and the movies. Me and my wife, our date nights every Friday night is the movies. So
I was going to say movies, sports or movies. Specifically, I was going to say Giants football. The Giants football.
Oh
see, Dr. Jr. is staying real calm, collected right about now. But if it comes August and the Giants ain't playing, you might see a different man.
I get hype, man. I love my Giants, man.
That's
I'm
true.
born and raised South Bronx, New York. You know what I mean? Like that's my team. The Yankees and Giants, man. Spring training is supposed to be starting.
Yeah,
I'm hyped.
I agree. You know, we're blessed in this storm. So how can people find you? How can they get in touch with your website on Facebook? How do they find you?
So we have a website. It's www.agapechirojax.com. You can find us on Facebook. We are just Agape Chiropractics in Jacksonville. Or you can give us a call at 904-608-0653. I hope I said that right. My wife gets on because I don't know it by heart yet.
Hey, look at him. Man, who needs to know phone numbers by heart? Anyways, so that's it. You guys heard it directly from him. So is there any like difference for the most part in the way that you guys are carrying out seeing patients? I know that you obviously you're still seeing patients. You saw me today.
Yeah, we are essential healthcare providers, so we're seeing patients. We have regular hours right now, but it is super slow because we have a lot of older patients that decided to just completely quarantine. Right. And I get that. But people who can make it out, this is essential. You know, we want you to come in because there's research that shows that chronic pain increases inflammation. When you have increased inflammation, you also have depression, cortisol levels, stress, and stress decreases immune response. So it all comes together. So we encourage people to continue to come. But with that being said, we have a schedule so where there's no more than 3 people in the office at one time. We're wiping things down constantly. So we are doing everything. I have my mask because I'm the one that's coming into contact with so many people every day. So we're wearing our mask here. And so we're doing everything we can to keep it as clean as possible and make sure you have a safe environment so that your health can continue. And you don't have to really fear coming in here because every table is being wiped down between each and every single person. And once again, there's no more than 3 people in here on any given time within basically a 15 to 20 minute window.
Yeah. So what take from that is it's a lot safer than the grocery store. So anyways.
Yes. Yes. And you go there all the time.
Exactly. Everybody's still got to go there. So just another little tidbit about Dr. Jr. He is actually, there's extra levels of certification, knowledge pools, and things that he's sought out specifically for both, help me say this right, pregnant women and newborns, right? Like
pregnant and kids. Yeah. Pregnant women and kids.
He has a big heart for those people. I know he adjusted his son on the first day. He sent me a picture of it.
First day.
It was so cool.
We have a couple other kids in here. And the reason why we see pregnant women and kids is because we want healthy babies to grow up to be healthy adults. We are a sick nation, People have so many issues
Absolutely.
going on. And so we rather get people at the start, man, and just help them grow into a healthy lifestyle instead of, you have 50, 40, 60-year-olds who have had things for 20, 30, 40 years, and they want us to help fix them in 3 days, 4 weeks, or something like that,
Yeah.
And so we just have a heart for starting at the beginning, man.
Yeah.
And so that's why we choose to try to get those in here. But we see everyone, but we definitely try to specialize in kids and pregnant moms.
Yeah, in my world, that's applicable when I'm training a sales guy. I almost don't want a sales guy who's been a sales guy for 10 years, because a lot of times I have to teach him to unlearn stuff. Not that there's no good thing that comes in and I'm the end all be all on authority, but we have a way that we do things, and there's ways that we don't, and so we're gonna do the and same thing in ministry, bro. You and I both know it's way harder to minister to the guy who who knows the Bible backwards and forwards and thinks he knows everything, and that's the reason why, as opposed to somebody who's just like, like I know I'm missing something. It's easier to pour into an empty vessel. You're applying that in a lot of different ways. Anyways, guys, I have had a blast. Doc, thank you so much for coming on. I know for sure this will not be your last appearance. There's no question about that. We'll have some fun.
Sure, man.
I think the next time, for sure, some business growth stuff and just success-minded stuff, that would be awesome. I do know you need to get home to that baby and that beautiful woman of yours, and so I will totally not keep you any longer. Thanks for making some time for us, guys. If you like this, go see him if you live around here. If you don't, let him know how much you appreciated it. Drop us a comment, a like, subscribe to the page, whatever you want to do. Thank you so much, guys. Have an awesome evening.
Yeah, take care.